last year, of course, have been mentally tough, and I went through some painful moments in terms of accepting things. During all this process, you go through like a mountain of emotions, no? So it's difficult to explain in words, but okay, to put everything in perspective, I mean, in 2022, I was winning slams.
The first two.
Exactly. Then I got injured in Wimbledon. I had my abdominal break being in semifinals. I was not able to be on court. And then in the US Open, in the previous days of the tournament start, I had again a tear on my abdominal. So in my mind was, okay, now after that, I became father, so was a little bit different approach of the end of the year. But I say, okay, I'm going to prepare myself. I have been playing very well. I'm going to prepare myself to start the 2023 in good shape. Then what happened in 2023 is in the first tournament of the year, well, second, but first in Slam, I against Mackenzie McDonald, I had a big thing in the psoas iliac. So here started the big process, because in theory was an injury that it will recover properly, even if had been an important one, but it's going to take time. But I was practicing, and I felt that the things were not evolving the way that I wanted. So arrived a point that we decided to go for surgery, because after talking with different doctors, top specialists on that area, they say, okay, if you want to keep playing on the tour, I think the only way is to go through a surgery, an important one, but we think that you're going to be able to come back. Okay, so I accept the challenge, because at that time for me were some doubts if I have to do it, or already, okay, I have 37 years old, so maybe it's the time to stop, and okay, let's stop it and don't go through all the process. But I accept that. I decided to keep fighting, because in some way 3 months before I was being one of the best of the world and competing for the most important event. So and at the same time I was enjoying doing what I am doing, what I was doing. So I tried. After the surgery, the things went more or less well, but they find a little bit bigger problem in the psoas iliac. They had to remove an important part of it. But after that, started all the recovery process. So take it like 6 to 7 months. And I started practicing, and I felt quite well. The problem is I still had the feeling that I was not able to push. I felt some limitations in that area. That is an important area, of course. So I give myself just a time to see if I am able to recover myself the proper way. Because in terms of tennis, I still feeling myself well, competitive. I didn't feel that I lost speed on the ball. Just need to recover the physical confidence and take it out the limitation. That's why doing all these months have been difficult, because in some way I felt, okay, let's keep fighting, because at some point maybe that gonna work well. But weeks, 1 week, another week, I was able to compete, but I was not able to compete at the level that I wanted, for different reasons, because I was not playing enough well, maybe. But inside myself was because I was not able to move the way that I was used to move. No, so arrived a moment that after Olympics, I come back home and I say, okay, it's over. I feel it. Before I didn't feel it, but I wanted to give myself the time. After that, I say, okay, don't make sense anymore. I don't feel myself that I go with this issue. I don't feel that I'm gonna come back being competitive at the level that motivates me. So then, when I felt that, for me, it's over.
I want to get to the Olympics in a second, because it was one of the more special moments that I saw in your career during the opening ceremony. I do want to spend a minute on the training aspect versus healthy, because I think when us dummies, pundits who talk about tennis, talk about it. It's like you're healthy, you're not healthy, but you also have to be healthy enough to train the way you want to be prepared. It's not as if, okay, you don't have pain here anymore, I'm ready to go. It's pain here anymore, but then I need to feel what it's like to get out of the corners, where you're not compromised. So it's not even healthy enough just to participate without pain. You have to be healthy enough to train. You're someone who no one ever questioned whether or not you were going to be prepared if you chose to take the court. So explain basically just your process and how do you have to feel in practice in order to feel like you can somehow find something on the match court?
Well, I was able to come back at very, very high level after injuries during most of the times in my career, because I was able to, first of all, I was not a guy, maybe because I had plenty of injuries, but I was not that guy that I come back and I have fear of hurt me again. I was not going out again. I was not thinking, okay, I need to take care here because if not, something negative can happen again. No, I was able to, okay, I come back from injury, things I feeling well now, so let's practice, let's prepare. So I just, in some way forget quick what happened. So I was able to go on court, practice with the intensity that I needed, and then I think I recovered quite fast the physical intensity, and the tennis level was not a big issue for me most of the times. Of course, as you know very well, sometimes you play.
I don't know about your level. No,
yeah.
I have no idea what it feels like to be at your level.
You know exactly the same. You know exactly the same than me. That sometimes you feel better, sometimes you feel worse. But that's part of the business, no. But I was able to recover well. Then it's about you have limitations or you don't have limitations. So that's it. After this last injury, the thing is I have limitations. Before I had important injuries, but when I came back, I had limitations maybe one day, but not all the time.
Yeah.
So you are able to live with that and to go on court, and you don't feel, okay, maybe I have limitation today, but most of the days I don't have that limitation. So you still believing that, okay, I can keep fighting for the most important things. When you have limitations all the time, then you start feeling, okay, how I beat this guy, how I beat this. This
you have to take
guy.
risks that you wouldn't normally take or make decisions you wouldn't normally make.
Exactly. And of course, a guy like me that I have been practicing all my career with very, very high intensity, that's the way that I understand the sport. That's the way that I enjoy the sport. So when I am not able to do that anymore, then for me, it's not anymore that interesting.
So one of the things we sat down with Rafa on this show, and obviously his respect for you is well documented, and I know that respect goes.
Was he good on the podcast, by the way?
He was fantastic.
Was he? Okay.
Oh my gosh, he was.
I watched it, of course. What are you talking about?
I don't know. I don't know what you. I assume you're not searching YouTube in your spare time. Like I don't
Never know. I got time now,
But he was fantastic. But you mentioned your knee, and then he mentioned his injuries, and it's like he took his, like, just so everyone knows how hard the players are playing for you in there and how rough this is physically. He took his shoe off. It looks like there's an animal living inside of his foot. Like, it is.
I know it. I've seen it.
It's disgusting. It's like, I would say you should see it, but I wouldn't wish that on anyone. It's absolutely disgusting. One thing that I think you have completely undersold is I think a lot of players, when they get hurt, will put out an update every step along the way. I know that your knee went bad, worst, really bad. I saw you in Boston in 21, the year before you retired, and you were hiding your crutches to take photos.
Yeah. Those crutches don't need to be on the picture.
Your knee was terrible, but talk about kind of the mental gymnastics of being relatively healthy for your entire career.
Yeah.
And then having to deal with this kind of physicality for the first time. And it's not a new story. Yeah. Athletes have to go through it. But what was your personal journey with it, and how does it stand now? Are you
it's a great question, because I was always famous for he's never injured. He doesn't have...
Never retired from a match, by the way, is one of my favorite stats in tennis.
Yeah, I mean, once I got on court, I dealt with it and finished it. Even though many matches I didn't feel perfect, and I dealt with some, back issues and hand stuff, foot things, but never to the extent like the knee at the end. And it's really only once you've maybe had surgery or you're out for extended period of time, you really start being really unbelievably appreciative of how good you used to feel and how unworried you were running for a ball across the court and like stopping on a dime. All of a sudden you're thinking everything through every possible moment of the match, so everything changes in a massive way. And I've always been the kind of player or person that I didn't want either my opponent or the world or the press needing to know about every step of the way of my injuries, but also to protect myself, I guess to a certain level, that my opponent doesn't know, like, okay, bad knee, really bad knee, so I'm going to make him run around. Whereas on the other side, Rafa was super honest about his issues, and I'd be like, why is he saying all of that? and me, I almost cannot get out of my chair with my bad back, but everybody thinks I'm perfect. So I don't know what's better or worse, but you go about it in a different way. And it was definitely hard the last years, especially also navigating through the media, where I know I was maybe at 80% certain times, and they judge me at 100%, but I know I'm not, and it's hard for the team because everybody is trying to keep a very quiet way about it, of how bad things really were. But look, at the end of the day, I still am incredibly grateful. I had the most amazing career with a good and a bad body, like all the players did. It's just that all that came together really at the very end.